Hello neighbor, I'm Curt with etrailer. Today we're going to take a look at the Rhino Rack RX200 legs for the Vortex Crossbars and Pioneer platform. Now if you've had any experience with either of these Rhino Rack systems, please leave those in the comments below along with any questions. We'd love to take your stories and your questions and use those to help our other neighbors make the best decision for themselves. Now the RX200 legs are used to support, as we said, the Pioneer platform system or what we have here today, which is their Vortex Crossbars. They are generally used for what they call like a limited raised rail, but for the most part they're used on flush mounted rails, meaning there is no gap between the roof and the bottom of your rail. It just sits flush right on top of it. So the way that these would come together is that basically, once assembled, it's going to create kind of a clamp at the bottom here that's going to grab onto those flush rails and not allow our crossbars to be mobile while they're up on the roof. Just going to help keep everything secure that way. It's going to come in basically three components for a crossbar system: the crossbar or the rack itself, the towers or the legs as they're sometimes called, and then the fit kit, which is going to be custom to the vehicle depending on the type of rails that they have. So the only thing vehicle specific, as mentioned, is going to be your fit kit, but you are going to have to assemble that vehicle specific custom fit kit to your tower in order to get them to work on your rails. And we're going to show you exactly how those get assembled right now. So the first thing we're going to do is unlock and remove our tower cover. At this point, we're going to have this little kind of bracket keeping everything in place. We're going to pop that off. We're going to twist it around completely. At this point, from the underside, we're going to take our rear bracket, insert it as such, and it'll click back like that on these two blue tabs, and now it's going to be in place. We've got a little bit of spring action from that spring-fed bolt right there. So far, we're in really good shape. The next thing we need to do is place our foot pad. Now, the foot pad is going to be specific for front left, front right, rear left, rear right, and it's going to have an arrow that's going to be pointing toward the front of the vehicle. So while as far as the towers go, it doesn't really matter where those end up, but the foot pads, it definitely does, because they are going to be contoured specifically to fit your rail. So once we get that placed on, we're just going to use these two little attachments in the middle to attach on there, and then we'll just kind of snug it up on the rest until we have our foot pad in place. The next thing we're going to do is take our outside clamp, hook it around the top there, make sure that tab goes into the square, and have that in place there. At this point, we'll bring around this little tab, hook it around our bolt, and all that's really going to do is just keep everything together while we get it onto our crossbar. And getting it onto the crossbar is very simple. You just simply need to remove your end cap. There is a T-tab right here, and we're basically going to just run that through the slot on your bar. Once we do that, we'll replace our end cap to keep it in place. And now we're ready to go ahead and get it mounted on our roof. So now that we've got everything up on our rails, you see the rubber foot pad, which is vehicle specific to this car, is very nicely hugs around here. There's a little bit of gapping, but as these clamps tighten down, so will it. So we're going to ensure that the front clamp is going to go underneath this lip right here on our rail. Same thing with the back clip. We're going to make sure that that's going to grab onto that lip just this so. So the first thing I'll do is move aside that blue tab again, get it out of the way of our bolt. We're going to take our Rhino Rack provided tool, and I find it's best to apply a little bit of pressure downward on your clamps just to ensure that they don't slip off of that lip as I'm tightening it up, and then I have to untighten it and reset it all again. So it's a good idea to just kind of put a little bit of downward pressure here just to ensure that that is going to catch that lip. And this is a torquing tool, so as soon as I get it tight enough, we're going to hear a good, loud, audible pop, and that's just Rhino Rack letting us know that we do indeed have our rack tightened down to spec. And there we have it. Then we could just simply replace our tab there, and then we'll grab our cover and lock that on as well. So for this, we'll just grab our cover, we're going to slide it into place, and we're going to take this provided little plastic key that they gave us and lock it on. Now, this same key is going to work with the ends of crossbars and the ends of your towers. These are replaceable with metal locks from Rhino Rack, just so you know, if you want to get a system that's just a little bit more secure. So there's a look at the Rhino Rack RX200 legs for Vortex Crossbars and the Pioneer platform. I'm Curt with eTrailer. Thanks for stopping by.